welcome to the hard sell where the stick rattles back. You clearly have a computer of some description, or you would be watching this right now. And in that case, you can't have failed to notice that there's some football happening. In fact, though it hasn't actually started yet while I'm typing these words, or indeed while I'm speaking them right now to go into your ear in the future, by the time most of you see this, England will have played their first match, which I'm assuming is a ground-out no-score draw with Tunisia. It's a FIFA World Cup. After the Olympics, or possibly in front of them, this is the biggest commercial money spinner in sport. The place where sport and commerce reach ultimate communion. Sponsorship has always been a thing, not just the kits and the boots and sundry items of actual utility within the sport, although those were obviously the first to make a profit, but it didn't take long for any old company to realise that they could snuggle up to FIFA with a mutually beneficial arrangement. And the first actual sponsors of the tournament, as near as I can tell, by which I mean the first company to use games as a giant billboard, were, to no great surprise, Coca-Cola. They practically invented the side-of-pitch advert at the first post-war World Cup at Brazil, 1950, and they've been inescapable ever since as official FIFA partners. Don't ask for a Pepsi at a World Cup match. They'll hurl you out of the stadium. As for confectionery, it's more of a case of pot luck. With Mackie D's providing the half-time theoretically edibles, 2018 has no official snack food, although many of the teams do. England's official chocolate partner, for example, is Mars, and has been for some time. It was slightly galling back when Cadbury's were still British, but it doesn't really matter now. In 1990, they were actual FIFA-affiliated tournament sponsors, with the status of official snack food going to their M&Ms.
City of Rome was founded by Romulus in 753 BC. True or false?
Every week, you can win a World Cup holiday in Italy. Details on Mars and M&M's packs now.
Hey, Schultz, you go back a long way. Have a crack at this.
I bet you thought I was going to drop that, didn't you?
And I'd like to think there was a version of this little whimsical vignette for every major team, with their own stars and their traits replacing Shilton and his longevity. So you could have had Beppe Bergomi hurling the wrapper at Pietro Bierkovod, whereupon it disintegrates on impact. Or Ruud Gullit chucking it to Marco van Basten, whereupon he disintegrates on impact. Come to think of it, it's damn lucky Brian Robson didn't break his arm throwing into Shilton here.
I bet you thought I was going to drop that, didn't you?
Becoming an official sponsor, however, is usually only within the reach of the truly gargantuan omni-corporations, like Coke, and McDonald's and Visa, and the Dow Chemical Company. Oh no, wait, they're Olympic sponsors, sorry. But there's more than one way to skin a fullback. If you can't sponsor the tournament itself, you can always sponsor the coverage. Britain came to the concept of sponsored TV programmes late, although we embraced the fuck out of it once we figured it out, with everything from the Bill to Coronation Street to the concept of Channel 4 showing a film, getting little corporate stings at the beginning and end, and bracketing the commercial breaks like capitalist parentheses, or elitist gated community residents looking down on the less official regular adverts who don't have the channel's backing. What the fuck am I talking about? Anyway, the first sponsored programme on British television was ITV's coverage of Italia 90, the tournament that was brilliant in imagery, aesthetic and sheer zeitgeist bothering, as evidenced by the fact that we still call it Italia 90, not just the 1990 World Cup, but unfortunately sucked in its actual football, which was almost uniformly dull and punctuated by constant fouling. And I don't just mean Gary Lineker. The sponsors were National Power, who regular viewers will remember was the result of the nationalised Central Electricity Generating Board being sliced, diced and sold off. In the summer of 1990 it was in a sort of limbo transitional phase, having been established out of the ashes of the CEGB, along with Powergen, because competition, but still 100% owned by the government for the time being. Perfect time for the obligatory pre-privatisation awareness campaigns then. And to do it in part by sponsoring ITV's coverage of the World Cup was brilliant, and as dizzyingly modern and American at the time as clear cola. For this very first such attempt, however, there seemed to be a strange and very British compulsion to hide their lights under a bushel. Not having twigged on the classic formula of a sting at each end and wrapping the adverts and letting the programme itself get on with it, all ITV and or NP could think of was having the NP logo discreetly show up at the start of the title sequence and on the advertising bumper, which was far too small and inoffensive. So poor Brian Moore had to name-drop National Power in the commentary every 10 minutes. And then almost every commercial break had to feature this.
Have you ever wondered just who is responsible for generating electricity for England and Wales? Where does the power that's working your TV right now actually come from? Well, last year, if you added together all the electricity from everyone else's power stations, it would come to this much, about 56% of the total we need. So where, you may wonder, did all the rest come from? Let me enlighten you. It came from the power stations of National Power, the biggest single generator of electricity in Britain.
And I mean every break. At half-time, during just about every match shown on ITV, Peter Purvis doing his "Do you ever think about electricity? Hi, I'm Peter Purvis" shtick with the floodlights. It became indelibly associated with the tournament. Baddiel and Skinner were making jokes about it 4 years later. And it may in fact have backfired a bit, because one of the games ITV showed live was the semi-final in Turin. This thing could have showed up multiple times on that fateful evening, indelibly associating it, Purvis and National Power itself, with stomach-churning tension and ultimate crushing despair and pain. Maybe that's why National Power were less successful as the two main generating companies spun off from the CEGB. Or maybe it's just because PowerGen had a far cooler logo.
It came from the power stations of National Power, the biggest single generator of electricity in Britain.
Of course, you don't have to have any kind of official status at all to tie in with the World Cup. Just release an advert at the same time as one and stick some football in it. It'll still resonate with the prevailing atmosphere. Take Scotch tape, for instance. No, the kind you record with, although they're made by the same people.
And here comes Hurst. He's got some people are on the pitch. They think it's all over. It is.
Yes. Why, it seems like only yesterday.
And Bobby Moore comes up to receive the Jules Rimet trophy.
And to think, I was there in the flesh.
The Jules Rimet trophy. The Jules Rimet trophy.
Once you've got it on Scotch, you've got it for life.
If you stop to think about it, you might wonder why Archie the Skellington is reviewing England 66 rather than, say, Archie Gemmell in 78, given that he works for Scotch. But for one thing, Archie's still played by Englishman Derek Guyler here. He wouldn't acquire his Scottish accent until Guyler retired to Australia in the early 90s and Richard Wilson took over.
Scotch tape gives perfect results every time on the screen.
Besides, Scotch tape, whether sticky or magnetic, was invented in Minnesota. And besides even that, this is an advert for blank VHS cassettes. And besides even that, this is an advert for blank VHS cassettes from 1990. You're not supposed to stop and think about it, except to think, I shall buy this product. Even I don't overthink adverts that much. Usually.
The Jules Rimet trophy. The Jules Rimet trophy.
Once you've got it on Scotch, you've got it for life.
The kings of World Cup tie-in advertising, however, are Nike. You'd think it'd be Adidas because they're official FIFA partners and have supplied the official ball for every tournament since 1970. And Adidas are no slouches. But Nike, the American upstarts, are the biggest sports equipment company in the known universe. The swoosh alone is worth $26 billion. And just look at that logo. It's a single curved line. They dropped the word Nike from it nearly 25 years ago. They're so big they don't even need their name in their own logo. No one else can compete. Being American, of course, their initial fortune was built on basketball, baseball and gridiron, which had a very helpful burst of popularity in the late 80s and early 90s, particularly in this country, as our national game hit its lowest ebb. Then Italia 90 happened, and the Premier League got started, and America hosted a World Cup. And football became bigger than ever, bigger than almost anything. So big that Nike could take it seriously, and so soaked in money that they couldn't afford not to. Every World Cup for nearly a quarter of a century has had its own accompanying Nike advert for broadcast during the opening match and throughout. Starting in 1994 when football came to Nike's home. And they celebrated with this slightly eerie, wordless reverie starring the ghosts of various Nike-affiliated stars at the time. This wasn't necessarily a World Cup tie-in. No one was sure if a World Cup in the United States would even work. None of the players are in their national colours apart from the Brazilians, and half of them weren't even in the World Cup, like Ian Wright and Eric Cantona, neither of whose countries qualified. Well, Cantona might not have gone anyway because he was such a difficult bastard. Anyway, USA 94 not only worked, it made vast quantities of cash and contributed to football becoming truly global, and Nike gaining the freedom to completely lose their minds.
And on that day a dark warrior rose to the earth to destroy the beautiful game.
Maybe they're friendly.
The mid-90s was a good time for completely mental, distinctly testosterone-scented, high-budget, epic adverts for what the 90s regarded as hyper-manly products. Cars, mostly, but also booze. And, of course, sports equipment. Here's a hand-picked set of Euro 96 stars playing Satan himself in the Roman Colosseum, which is odd because it was hosted in England, not Italy. There's Cantona again, very much the face of Nike football for years, even after he stopped playing in favour of the careers of professional Frenchmen.
Au revoir.
Odd man out here is, of course, Ronaldo Nazario, aka Ronaldo Fenomeno, who may not have shone at Euro 96 on account of being Brazilian, but really had to appear here because Nike at the time seemed to own him lock, stock and barrel. He was the inevitable star of their 1998 World Cup promo, along with his Brazilian teammates, which has since become iconic, and really started a tradition of Nike Football's advert being as much a part of a major tournament as the sodding Coca-Cola trucks are of Christmas.
Por causa das condições do tempo, o voo 409 para Paris está atrasado.
It kind of unwittingly summed up his tournament there. After being solid and intermittently dazzling for the defending champions in their run to the final, he was shockingly dropped from that match itself after having a seizure in the hotel room. And then he was mysteriously undropped and played anyway, either at his request or Nike's, or both, only to demonstrate he wasn't close to match fit. Never mind, he made up for it the next time around. For 2002, Nike pulled out all the stops, including some that were only visible through a strong microscope. Hiring Terry Gilliam, of all people, I suppose it helped pay off insurance for the man who killed Don Quixote, they filmed a faintly dystopian scenario of the world's leading footballers, apparently of their own volition, taking part in a three-a-side tournament in a metal cage on a super freighter in international waters. Eric Cantona was back, now post-playing career, and acting as the sinister mastermind behind this bizarre occurrence. The full 2.5-minute piece was cut into various smaller lumps and scattered around the tournament's commercial break like croutons. And if you're interested, this cabal of elite footballers includes fully one English player. And he goes out in the first round.
Respect. The losers go home. Bye-bye.
Their contribution for 2006 was much scaled back and centred around just Nike's two favourite sons, consisting of self-consciously lo-fi footage of Eric enthusing about imported clips of O Fenomeno, who had just won the World Cup and the Golden Boot and equalled Pele's scoring record in the previous tournament.
Here we go. Stand by.
Here's to the boy wonder, the kid, the miracle man, the keeper's nightmare, the phenomenon, the unstoppable, the number 9, the king. Here's to Ronaldo, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned for more.
Unfortunately, this was very ill-timed. As Ronaldo came to that year's tournament in Germany, less the sleek phenomenon of 2002, and more of a sort of lumbering, tranquilised fat bloke. Although in a testament to his quality, he still scored 3 goals and broke Gerd Muller's all-time record.
Stay tuned for more.
Anyway, he's a distant memory by 2010, and there was a whole new Ronaldo to worship, albeit a much less likeable one. Nike went back to splashing the cash on this one, which is more whimsical than its stone-faced delivery might first make it appear.
Droga para pinga.
Several famous footballers count their chickens in the split second before or after kicking the ball, including England's newest goal-scoring ugly bloke, Wayne Rooney. Ironically, he did actually sport that look for a bit, of his own accord. Of course, Cristiano Ronaldo here thinks he's just looking at the actual present. Well, all that paled next to the meisterwork they created for the last World Cup in 2014.
Flawed, 76% probability of missing the target. Reckless, 50% chance of failure. And this is not an acceptable way to arrive at training. Even the greatest players of our time make mistakes. They take too many risks. After all, they're only human. But what if they weren't?
A 5-minute animated film about an evil, mad scientist who clones footballers in order to make football boring, leading to some kind of dystopian scenario where Ronaldo Fenomeno has to inspire Ronaldo Tosserio to save football by... I don't know, the thing's 5 minutes long. They never showed the full Pixar wet dream in a commercial break for obvious reasons, just bits of it, with a URL to the full thing. It was all a bit much, and didn't have its tongue nearly far enough in its cheek to really work.
Clone that!
So this year they've gone back to worshipping the Brazilians. getting the current set assail to pay homage to the one from 1998.
Yellow. Toma. Essas pernas aí, William. Já mete na internet aí, caralho. Que não.
It's a bit more forgivable of a chubby 40-something. Well, if you weren't sick of football already, you will be by now, which is a shame as there's still at least 3 weeks of the World Cup to go. I will leave you with perhaps the most adorable football-related advert ever made. Gracias.
Okay, I'll leave it up to you. It's a great idea, and we'll settle up later. Cheers, Bob. Look after yourself.
Lara's Cakes.
Hello, I wonder if you can help me.
Yes, we could do that. Fine. What colour would you like the tracksuit? Orange?
Do I not like orange?
Pardon?
Ah, it's just a joke, love. Blue, I think. I see here it says you deliver.
Oh, that's nice. Good luck from Bobby and Graham.
Hey you lovely people, thank you for watching. Do you want to see these things a week before anyone else? Do you want access to even more video essays, random musings, and absurdist close-down based humour? Do you want to read and help shape my new book about the history of the British Broadcasting Corporation? Do you want me to continue to have food and shelter? Well, consider that one a bonus. Support me on Patreon now. Only good can come of it. I promise.